Welcome to the Caution Flag Contemplations podcast, a racing show for the fans by fans. That was a real one.
There you go.
Yeah, I took a little sip of this fuel here, and it was a little strong. It needed a little bit more. Dr. Pepper, Blackberry,
Ugh.
0. It's actually pretty good.
Mm.
I like it. It's definitely a dark. Like it's good for cold weather. It's a darker taste. I figured that be right up your alley. I apologize, folks, if I cough. I'm still on about week 4 coughing here, but here we are. Welcome to the Caution Flag Contemplations podcast with these two dum-dums. And we're here. We made it. We might have a guest segment that I kind of forgot about, but dear old dad said we needed a guest segment for the marathon runner. So we might pull her out here in a little bit. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, how was your weekend?
It was a good weekend. Had some family in town, and overall had a good time.
Did y'all eat anything good?
Oh yeah, we went out to Mexican one night, and it was great.
Mexican.
Oh yeah.
Sweet. Well, I went to the beach for the marathon. I was back on that whole diet thing. I'm gonna turn this thing off. I was on the whole diet thing for 3 whole minutes there, and hold on. Sorry about those technical difficulties, folks. We went to the beach, and I go on the road trip, and like every gas station I stop in, I spend $30 on junk that I don't need to eat. So I guess I'm addicted to food. It is what it is. But went to the beach for her to run a marathon. She ran it, smoked it, beat it. I could never do that. It looked painful. But here's the thing I want to talk about. So this town that we went to, Oak Island, North Carolina, they have this marathon every year. I dropped her and her brother off at the start line, I think around 6:15, 6:30. And I was going to meet them in a mile because it was cold, so I was going to get their stuff. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go get some coffee, maybe a little breakfast, and I'll meet them, sit over there and drink coffee and just wait for them to get that first mile mark and get the stuff. And, the coffee shops didn't open until 7:30, and the breakfast places didn't open until 9.
That sucks.
What the crap? I mean, what are they doing, legitimately?
Yeah.
I mean, they had probably the biggest weekend they're going to have other than during the summer all year. It was packed. There's probably 3,000, 4,000 people, not all in the event, but by the time you had, family and all that was down there watching people run. All right. Sorry about that, guys. I had a little technical difficulties there. But yeah, so anyways, they didn't have these breakfast and coffee restaurants open, and I was like, we could be making millions of dollars. Okay, not millions, but $36,000 maybe. I don't know, combined. But anyways, so did that, went, got some breakfast, got that. Airbnb burnt all the breakfast because the stove was terrible, the oven was terrible. Had black bacon on one end, raw on the other end. Never seen that before. Yeah, it was not great. But we did get to eat some fish, your favorite.
Oh yeah.
A little
Definitely my favorite.
fried flounder and some fries and slaw, and it was really good actually. I wanted, I'm a pizza slut when I go to the beach. And they just didn't have any beach pizza. It all looked too thick, so I didn't get any. So it worked out good. But we ate breakfast next morning and left and headed on back. Got back last night about halfway through the Daytona 500. I don't know if you watched it. You probably did.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that worked out. Got to watch the end of the race anyway, so that was cool. But it was a long weekend. I'm tired. Had to go back to work. Valentine's Day makes my delivery pickup job pretty busy.
Yeah.
My back hurts, and didn't have any podcast notes because I drove 1,200 miles in the last 3 days, so hadn't had much time to keep up with the podcasting. But we got it done. We got home off work today, so we'll knock this out and get her posted, and we will go to bed. It's gonna be a great time. Other than that, I guess kind of the only racing headline I want to start with before we get into the main topics. O'Cleater McSkeeter. We threw up the air ball. Did you see it? We threw up the air ball, man.
Man, I was at work and I had it on my little iPad there on my toolbox, and I was working on some brakes at the time. And right as I turned it on, he got wrecked the first time and spun out and didn't really have any damage and kept going on. And then, I finished the one side of brakes, and then I get to the other side and start on it. And about that time, he got wrecked for real by the same freaking girl.
Yeah.
Junked him.
So since we're recording this podcast Monday night, for those of you who don't know, I'll just go ahead and let you know. Cletus did make a Facebook post today that nobody needs to hate on Amber. Quit sending her death threats. You people are ridiculous on the internet. I just want to call you out. You're a bunch of idiots if you were sending her death threats for wrecking at Daytona. It happens. It's ARCA series for a reason. Cletus is his first, super speedway race of his life. He hadn't really done anything close up to this point. So like it happens. He did pretty good on the save on the first one that you're talking about. I thought he's like, yeah, I bombed her down into second gear, 7,800 RPM, felt like Ricky Bobby. I was like, God, his interview.
Oh yeah.
Dude.
Talk about a way to sell some t-shirts right there, buddy.
Like these old people are all like, no, he's making fun of NASCAR. And I'm like, and you people are why young people didn't like NASCAR.
Yeah.
And also why we've ended up with this stupid next gen car. So it's whatever. Anyways, long story short, Cletus got wrecked, didn't make 200 laps. We both picked him to make it because we wanted, or 200 miles. We wanted to make it. He didn't. Happens. Moving on. I think he did okay though. I went back and watched. It looked like he didn't do anything too crazy and out of line. And I don't think that's the end of him. Probably. I think Talladega. You might see him in a truck or an Xfinity car. He's gonna want to do Daytona 500 probably. So to do that, he's probably gonna have to do truck or Xfinity, wouldn't you think? Talladega, maybe?
Probably something. I don't.
And you want to talk about animated character? Cleater at Talladega. Can you see him flying? I think it's called his helicopter Consuela.
Yeah, Consuela.
Fly Consuela down into the infield at Talladega at night on the boulevard. Just land it right next to the stripper pole. It'd be perfect. Sorry, those of you who don't know about Talladega Boulevard at night. It's a raunchy place, but
it's a wild place.
It'd be pretty wild if Cletus flew in there on his helicopter. It would probably be pretty lit. I'm pretty sure that so I lived in Birmingham for a while. And they used to talk about how I used to find bodies over there at Talladega after race weekends. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they said.
The funny thing is, like the week after the races there, the Twitter page posts all the pictures of the shit that they find, couches, all kind of junk.
Yeah, that's definitely like one of my most favorite tweet days of the year is Monday after Talladega.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're half burnt. I think I've told it on the podcast before maybe, but me and Watkins went down there into the short track, and like they have the free campground is like behind the short track, and like they're having like bonfires, and I'm pretty sure a camper caught on fire at like, I don't know, 12:30 in the morning. Like, I'm like, what are we doing? You can hear people out here like doing donuts, and it's a wild time. Talladega's a different animal than anything, but yeah, Cleater will fit in good down there. See what happens to him. Not gonna hate on Miss Amber. I am here to support. If she wants to come on the show anytime, just hit us up. We'll be glad to have you on here, and it happens. She actually can drive. Just for the record, she I can't say her last name. So I'm not going to try, but like she's not terrible actually. The speedway thing is hard, and it was like she pushed up off the corner basically.
It happens.
And to me, like I just don't know that her car was necessarily there. When you push up off the corner, you might just not have the steering in Talladega and Daytona. So it is what it is. Happens, but good job to Cleater for trying it. He was on the broadcast after that.
Yeah, they had him on the broadcast.
I'm like, listen.
It was great. They had the camera on a guy with the Cleater shirt, and he's like, "Oh, look, the guy with the Cleater shirt."
Yeah. Did you see where he also, like, during the red flag, they put a YouTube camera in his car? NASCAR did on their page.
Yeah.
And he talked to it during the red flag. Did you see that?
Yeah.
That is awesome. That is what NASCAR needs. That's what NASCAR wants. With that subscription on Max that I complained about for the in-car cameras, that's what they should do. Yeah. That's what they want. like while we're on the subject, Chase Briscoe said he was singing hymns driving through the 500, and I was thinking, man, if they could have had that on the pay-per-view
Yeah.
camera, I'd
Oh yeah.
subscribe for that. Amazing Grace. Priest takes off doing like
Yeah.
150 miles an
Yeah.
hour, 1,500 foot in the air, about to die.
Yeah.
God. Yeah. All right. Sorry, that was I had that thought that would be hilarious to hear that. I Chase Briscoe, man, like we've got more personality out of him in a week than
Yeah.
we have in his entire career, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
excited to see what happens with him, and the Bass Pro thing's always good too. So, anyways, moving on into it. Let's talk about a little bit of this dirty talk. I should bring that back, right? We're kind of going to split this up into two. If you guys want to skip to the NASCAR segment, I will put it in the show notes what the time gap is. So you just skip right to there if you don't want to listen to us talk about real racing, if you only believe in asphalt. So we're going to talk about the dirt first, 'cause that's what matters. This week, dirt started off at Volusia. We had the Dirt Car Series there Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And then it was followed up with By the Word Outlaws Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So 6 straight days at the Volusia Speedway Park. Is that what we
Yeah.
call it?
Yeah.
Which we attended last year. Loved the track.
Oh yeah.
It was a good time. Pretty busy this week. Struggled to watch after Monday
Yeah.
myself. For the matter of time on the podcast, we're not going to go in as in depth as we did last week because we have NASCAR to talk about now. Okay. We get a little bit, but you know it is what it is. Monday night, Nick Hoffman gets the win. It was like foggy. They did that Florida fog out thing. Did you see? Like they're having to rip tear offs.
Yeah.
Because of the fog. Basically, it was
Yeah.
kind of sketchy looking. Hoffman said he was having to rip a tear off at the turn one to see the turn every lap there for a minute. So he did get the win. I was excited to see Hoffman get the win. The car looks so much better this year. I think even this you're like the first episode you're on here, I was complaining about how those
Yeah.
Toro cars look, right?
Yeah.
So they really fixed his wrap this year. It looks so much better. More blue, less white. It looks pretty good. I was glad to see Nick get the win, you know. He working hard over there on the modified stuff, and glad to see him get the driving stuff going the right direction. He got the win over Ricky Thornton Jr. and Jonathan Davenport. Those two names have been up there at the front. We're going to talk about wins overall at Speed Weeks when we get out of here. There's about 5 names that was really getting it done. The rest of them were kind of nowhere to be found, so we'll get that here in a minute. But Tuesday, second dirt car feature, Ricky Thornton Jr. wins over Bobby Pierce and Tyler Erb Turbo Uncle T. I just don't think I can do the Uncle T.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It is good to see him back up in the front a little bit there, though.
Yeah, on a Tuesday night 7,000 win race at Volusia. Good job, Tyler.
It's still something.
Dude, like I hate to say it, but what has that man done in the last
he hasn't
2
done
years,
anything,
3 years?
really,
Like,
but I mean, at least he's getting something, you know.
I mean, I remember like a couple years ago at Smoky Mountain, I was over there at the Turbo Threads van. Like, this guy might just absolutely turn it on, and
Never did really.
he just hasn't quite got it. You know, he did the dirt car Summer Nationals thing last year, Hell Tour. That was cool, but
Yeah.
I'm hoping he can get it. You know, it's just one track. Volusia's probably not like wide open, hammer down rubber, not necessarily Tyler Erb, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, good to see him have a good run on Tuesday, and at least be somewhat relevant. Wednesday they did the 3 feature thing. Your 3 winners were Ricky Thornton Jr., Jonathan Davenport, and Big Sexy Brandon Overton over Little Sexy Cody Overton. That's cool to see them racing. There, you know, Cody was the points leader coming into Volusia for World Outlaws in the 2 car, which is cool. You know, brothers fighting each other there for the win. That's got to be a good time for them. 3 features thing. They had the super stocks or whatever, you know, that New York crap that we don't. Sorry, guys, but you know we're in the South. If it's not a late model,
Well, we
there's
don't
not
care.
a 6.0 something in front of it, and we don't pay that much attention. So, but it is what it is. They ran 3 features, kind of like the same thing they did with the crates there for Sunshine Nationals, I guess. So that worked out pretty cool. Thursday, we finally get back to World Outlaws action. It was an interesting race. I didn't get to watch a ton of it. Sorry guys, my computer's crashing out on me here. here we go. The that's
That was the
so
night that Owens had the really bad wreck. I was
yes,
watching and then I fell asleep after the B mains. I saw that wreck with
yeah.
Jimmy, and that's one of the scariest wrecks I've seen in a while.
Yeah, I felt really bad for him too because of the fact that he like built that car and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So basically Thursday night, first night come out, past qualifier Ricky Thornton Jr. They go into redraw. Feature lineup is Albertson. Mike Marlar was up there. He had a pretty good starting spot, faded unfortunately. He ran up there for a little bit and just kind of faded. As the race went, at the end of that, there Garrett Albertson did get the dub. So congratulations to Garrett Albertson. That was his second win there at
Yep.
Volusia for the year. I think he won the last race for Sunshine Nationals. Is that right?
I think so. Yeah.
So kind of two in a row for him. Good to see him up there. I think that his style, that track probably fits okay. He seems
Yeah.
to do pretty good on that kind of deal. But good to see him. I think overall he had a really good speed weeks. I think he ran very fairly consistent anyways and got 2 wins or 3 wins. So good job to Garrett there. Thursday night, like you said about Owens hit, dude. I
That
mean,
was,
it was so far down the front stretch too.
yeah.
Like I really don't understand exactly what happened to kind of hit how he did.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was slick, goopy down the front stretch. He just kind of piled in there, went driver's side, hard into the inside, concrete.
Yeah.
There's no safer barrier at the dirt track, for those of you who don't know, and it's hard. And he smacked it pretty good. Looked like it bent pretty well everything in the front of it. I actually thought he was going to take it to the house. Did roll out the backup car Friday, Saturday too. So, um, that was a scary wreck. I'm really glad to see Jimmy is okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, Jimmy is he ain't getting no younger. I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is. So I'm glad. I was really glad to see him get out of it. Did you see how he just walked
Oh
away from
yeah,
the car though?
he pulled the Riley Hickman move. Don't even look at it. I
That's
mean,
what. Like I've seen that a couple of times, and that's that face of like disgust. And it's not about the money; it's really about the time. Like
yep.
he spent a lot of time working on that car, and he's
Yep.
just like, God, and just climbed out, walked away, left it, and they're asking him. He's just like, Nah, nah,
Yeah.
that's whatever. And you got to feel bad for Jimmy, and that deal. Obviously, the Newport Nightmare, Newport, Tennessee. It's been a rough time for that area, with the floods and everything that happened last year. So, I'd really like to see Jimmy do good, and he's run
He's
decent
trying
this year,
good. Yeah.
really. Kind of had it figured out, and then kind of slowed down a little bit. So I don't know exactly what's going on with that, but hopefully he'll get it fixed up and back out there. Had the backup back out there. I don't think he made the show on Friday or Saturday. We'll check that here when we get there. But good to see him back out there. Friday night, we go in, and the one and only Ohio State Buckeye goes out there and skunks them. However, probably was not the highlight of the night. Was
No.
watching old Devin Moran get the win. Um, so I'm like on X, like scrolling, and I'm like, all right, well, you had another night. Awesome. Good job, Devin. Devin's been fast. FAST, fast.
Oh yeah.
And he's been there basically every race, all speed weeks. And anyways, I'm just scrolling and I see something about Bobby Pierce and Davenport. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? So, like, I guess it was around like lap 17, 13, something like that. I don't know. Davenport's like coming past Pierce and like throws a slider at him, takes the air off Pierce's nose. Pierce pushes up over the cushion, tries to save it, gets run into by Overton, bends something in the left front, and has to park it, right?
Yep.
And, I guess Pierce wasn't too happy with that. I don't know about you, but obviously, as you guys see, he's got the 49 flag. If you look at this toolbox, there's some stickers over here that say 49. So admittedly biased, but like I thought Bobby Pierce was like the king of sliding people dirty last time I checked. So I don't know. But I don't know if that's just a thing that I have against him. The only thing I like about Bobby Pierce, he runs Vic Hill Power. So, that's pretty much all I got about that. I don't really like his raps. I don't really like his haircut. I don't really like when he talks, and I don't like the sliders he throws.
Yeah.
So,
You just got to
um,
remember, if you can't sling it, don't bring it, son. I mean, if you can't take
that's
what you do to every other driver in the country and every other damn race, you need to pack it up and go home.
yeah. Well, so I would like to say that obviously the initial thing that everybody's going to say is, well, give me one example. I'm sure that's what he would say, and I can't, but I can tell you that that's usually what I think about him is that he throws some dirty sliders on people, and like he didn't have to lift. I guess he could have run over JD if he wanted to. But he kind of cleared him. So yeah, it did take the air off the nose. These cars are this is kind of what I'm talking about. The cars are so aero dependent.
Oh, yeah.
These are what we like to refer to as twisted sister race cars. You keep seeing the pictures floating around of them next to each other, and it's like, when is it going to stop?
Yeah.
Um, they're cool, but like at some point, it's going to have to stop, right? I mean, is
Yeah.
that your opinion?
I,
Like,
yeah. I mean, there was a video a few weeks ago or something. I think it was that ASD Motorsports team posted like a TikTok video or something when they were at Screven, and they had a video of a drone flying directly over the car, and it's like looking down, and you see the nose is pointed off to the right, and then the rear end's pointed off like this, and the hood's going straight, and like there's nothing straight on the car,
yeah,
nothing is lined up. The
yeah.
tires are so far offset on each other.
Yeah,
Like,
it's kind of goofy because like the left front hangs out like a half foot to
yeah,
8 inches off the body on the left side, and
yeah,
then the right rear hangs out like a mile and it's rolled over and all that. They had some issues with the modifieds, right? And they changed them basically because they were doing it with all their sail panels, if I remember
yeah.
right. But they kind of cut them back on how many rivets they could have or something like that.
That and
They-
like they took away some of the way you could bend it and
Yeah.
curve the sail panel.
So they kind of did something. I guess like my question is, we're not. It looks to me like we're not that far from these trucks not fitting in the trailer.
Yeah, I mean,
Like I mean, these cars not fitting in the trailer, and it's just like if you have to start taking your body off to put the thing in the trailer, then like that's probably when we should do something.
yeah.
Um, I mean, I'm okay with it, but it is, you know, it's interesting. I do appreciate the art. This was my question for you on that. Do you think that that comes from NASCAR going away from um, having people build their own cars, and those people need to find a job and going to work for some of these manufacturers for dirt late models?
I mean, I 100% could see that, I mean, like the NASCAR stuff is all basically just a damn crate car that you buy and put together.
Yeah.
So
I'm just talking
you
about like
can't,
fabricators and
yeah,
all the guys that built all those cars in the early 2000s coming over to dirt because that's not what they basically got to, right?
yeah. I mean, the
And
things are so just crazy. Like, I mean, there's
yeah,
nothing straight at all on a late
yeah.
model.
I mean, and like if you're straight, you're slow. So like, I mean,
Yeah,
you go to a track like Volusia. I mean, it's crazy. You watch Davenport slide up in front of Pierce, and you watch Pierce's nose come up off the
yeah,
ground like a couple inches because there's no air on it. And like, I get it. It is what it is. That sucks for him, but everybody's on the same
racing.
track, so figure it out, I guess. But I hated that for him. So that was interesting. I kind of hate to see that, but hey, listen, it's February 17th when we record this, and they already hate each other, and they're going to be fast. They're going to race each other a lot more this year. Obviously, Bobby's probably running World Outlaws. Davenport's running Lucas, so they're not going to be on the tour every week. But when we go to these big races, that's going to be a big deal, especially if they both go out there and win their respective series, which it looks like they're both going to be top three in their respective series every weekend. I mean, top three, top five, probably. So, just something to look forward to, including Saturday, which we're about to get to. But anyway, so Moran wins the race over Davenport and RTJ again. Whew. I mean, RTJ Speed Week, son. Like, I don't know how many. If he wasn't in the top three, he was like wrecked.
Yeah.
I think they junked 2 cars, but I mean, dang, he absolutely smoked it. So, anyways, we get Saturday. Get going through there. If we go to a 50-lap feature, which the track rubbed hard. There was a
Yeah.
lot of black on Saturday on the track, and it was weird though. Like there was still some traction up around the top. Um, which was cool. And Davenport ended up doing pretty good. He started 12th,
Yeah.
outside row 6. That's pretty deep. And it was a strong field, the people he had to come through to get up there. But he gets up there, catches up to Troutman, and then Troutman put up a really good battle for like 15 laps or so. They had a caution come out. They did a restart, like 13 to go, or something like that, and they they did a single file restart because the track was rubbered that bad, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not a good look. Maybe NASCAR should try that Daytona. We'll get that in a minute. Um, so yeah, but anyways, Davenport ended up getting around him. He kind of just barely got around him, like in the middle in the rubber. Like I was watching it, and I watched it again today, and I was like, how did he even like make it stick right there and kind of
Yeah.
drive around him? I guess Troutman just got really loose there, trying to stay off of Davenport. Probably he pinched him pretty hard, and good to see Drake run well. And other than the fact that he drives for J.R. Smith,
Yeah.
good to see him run well because I like the guy. But you know, he was up there and he raced with Davenport, and like even Davenport said after the race, like I feel bad having to do that to him, but I'm here to win. Blah blah blah. Gets the win. So. Davenport wins over Troutman and Hoffman. Brandon Overton was in fourth. Good run for Hoffman. Track slows down. Hoffman was good. Overton
Yeah.
was good. These are probably things to look for kind of when we get to some of these tracks that aren't just big hammer down, kind of who's up there at the front. Like I said, Troutman, Hoffman, Overton. Moran was still up there, but Bobby Pierce was up there. He had a 7th. That was one of his better finishes. Alberson, Gustin, um, Blair. Some of the guys that didn't necessarily have the best speed weeks when the track slowed down and got a lot better. Davenport, man, when he was on the top, when that thing first rubbered like halfway through that race, whew, it looked like he was at Eldora. I don't know
Yeah.
what happened, but I don't know if shocks are legal. I have no idea traction control, but he
He
had her
was ripping.
rolling on the top
Yeah.
there. So I had that. One thing I was going to say, because I am a biased Jonathan Davenport fan, I was watching there. Davenport got around Pierce on about lap 17, and he passed like 3 or 4 cars in that lap and the previous lap. And when he came around the outside of Pierce, Pierce absolutely sent it down into one, and it looked to me like he was trying to run into him. Basically, he was
Yeah.
trying to give him the quote unquote dirty slide that he just got. In my opinion, that's what I saw. And Davenport was fast enough, just rip around the outside. But it was like he ran the hardest he had run in 3 and 4, and the hardest he'd run in 1 and 2 for a few laps because he knew he was about to get passed by him. So, um, nothing dirty. He didn't hit him. He kept it off of him and everything. But just remember, like it does mean more to them probably at
Yeah.
this point. And I'm sure that old Superman got a little swag. They're like, oh yeah, can't
Yeah.
touch this, can't touch this, but yeah, so it worked out. Overall, RTJ ends up winning the Big Gator for the, I guess that's like the points they do down there for the Federated Auto Parts Dirt Car Nationals. So good job to RTJ. Super consistent all through Speed Weeks. Like I said, he was either top 5 or junked, but I think he only junked it twice. So really good Speed Weeks for him. So a couple things to talk about. The points leader for the Word Outlaws leaving Volusia is Ryan Gustin over Ricky Thornton Jr. Interestingly enough, I believe how I'm reading this on the Word of Outlaws website. You guys be sure to go check it out. They have a really nice website for a dirt series. I actually really enjoy it. It appears that Ryan Gustin is the leader, and he paid the money to be a dedicated outlaw driver. Obviously, Thornton is running. Pretty sure Thornton is running the Lucas deal. It looks like on here he doesn't have his name in red on their website. No link to his stuff or anything. So I'm pretty sure that that's what that means. It doesn't say that's what that means. I'm pretty sure that Ricky is running Lucas, but he's only 4 points back. I also think that Gustin probably got some points for paying the
Yeah.
money up front with the Outlaws. So, with that in mind, Thornton only had 4 starts to Gustin's 5 and is 4 points behind him. I'm pretty sure that Gustin got some points just for paying to be
Yeah.
an outlaw, a premier or whatever they're calling it. So, that's how good Thornton's been at Volusia so far. But Ryan Gustin, Ricky Thornton, Bobby Pierce, Nick Hoffman, and Max Blair's top 5 in points there. I'd say Bobby Pierce, Gustin, Hoffman. That's probably going to be the top, right,
Yeah.
for that series. So looking forward to that. Their next race up will be the Tennessee tip-off at Smoky Mountain Speedway in Maryville, Tennessee on Brick Mill Road. Y'all be sure to be there. Catch Casper and JP. We'll be right there on the back stretch. Well, I'll be there. I don't know if you have to work or not, but
I hope not.
I will be there on the back stretch in the tier parking, probably with the grill going, probably a little music, maybe a little tent, take a little walk, buy some T-shirts. It's going to be a great time. So y'all come on down to the Roger Sellers owned facility at Smoky Mountain Speedway. It's a great time. And hey, listen, they weren't there last year. I'm glad they're coming back. Hope it doesn't rain. It's March, and it's not a great time
Yeah.
for East Tennessee racetracks, but we're going to pray and hope and
Yeah.
everything that it doesn't rain, and we'll be there Friday and Saturday. If not, at least I will be. JP will have to confirm that week because he's a very busy man, so we have to get his schedule week by week. That's why he couldn't decide when he was going to Atlanta or not. Anyways, so yeah, the only other thing I want to point out, kind of put a shutdown on the dirt speed weeks here. Your win totals so far 2025. Ricky Thornton Jr. leads the way with 5 wins. There are 3 drivers with 4 behind him. Those drivers are Bobby Pierce, Devin Moran, Jonathan Davenport. The 5th place in wins there is Garrett Alberson with 3. I kind of think leaving speed weeks and stuff, that's about right. Interestingly enough, all 4 for Pierce came at Votto. So
Yep.
it's been a minute. He didn't get any in Florida. Votto kind of speed weeks, kind of not. Like the event car count was a little low this year, so he ran good though. He ran a lot better the second round at Volusia than he did the first round. He had a rough go the first round, so but good to see. And apparently the 20 RT is here to kick butt and take names like he was last year. So y'all better watch out for Ricky as the year goes on. So, anyways, moving on out of the dirt world, back into the asphalt junk. I don't know what to tell you. We went to Daytona, and it was Daytona, and it was a great week. I watched it every night. I only saw it on the qualifying night. I only watched the final round of qualifying, to be fair. But yeah, it was kind of interesting. There was a lot of Toyotas, a lot of Fords. I was super impressed with Chase Briscoe come out and get the win. I think that was an interesting thing. Clearly, with him being that much faster and that car looking as low to the ground as it looked and like it couldn't drive, they came to win the pole, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like when he was going down the backstretch, I was like, "Oh my God, don't wreck it!"
Yeah.
Down the backstretch. So that was awesome for him. I think that the James Small, Chase Briscoe, Toyota, great first weekend for them to get the pole
Yeah.
at Daytona. It's interesting how that happens. It feels like there's a lot of first-time combinations when the pole at Daytona. I don't know what, why, how. Back in the day, people used to say it was the restrictor plate.
Yeah.
Remember, like when Danica got the pole, and then Chase switched back to the 9 and got the pole, then Austin Dillon got the pole. And not that sports are rigged, but
Nah.
if you were going to rig NASCAR, when they're giving out the restrictor plates at the track, that would be the easiest way to rig it. Not saying it happened, but I don't feel like that's the case with Briscoe. I feel like they just really showed up to qualify, did well. I feel like the Fords also showed up to qualify, and I think they're probably pretty upset they lost to Toyota.
Yeah.
But it looked to me like the Hendrick cars, which, for a while there, my Hendrick boys were just dominating qualifying at Daytona, and they weren't racing very well. And this is 2 years in a row now they've showed up to race and won. So find that pretty interesting. I thought that's just kind of telling. I didn't really understand how Briscoe was so much faster. I still hadn't figured that out. Like,
Yeah.
I'd be curious to see what that looks like when we go to Talladega or even Atlanta, I guess, next
Yeah.
week. As far as the qualifying goes for Toyotas, if they kind of all more follow whatever Briscoe was doing, but we'll see what happens there. The duels. It was great. Tune in on a Thursday night. Do you have any comments on qualifying? Sorry, I've been talking a lot per usual.
Not really. I mean, it was kind of expected, a Ford or a Chevy to come out there and set the pole, but
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they got that thing set up just right and hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. Somebody on X said that Briscoe just has big hands and that's why he could do better. But it also looked like he was putting his hands out the window a little bit, like almost pushing air over the spoiler instead of just over the hole. But anyways, um, but maybe he wasn't taking his hands off the steering wheel on in the corner like some of them were. It was kind of weird. Uh, this was the question I had on qualifying. I forgot to put in the notes here. Do you want to go back to just one try? I don't really see why we do the 2 rounds of qualifying on a super speedway, really.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, I get having the 2 rounds because, they do that everywhere. I mean, definitely going back to one would save a lot of time, but doing the two everywhere is kind of, staying consistent
Yeah.
as the season goes on. But, I mean,
I thought it was interesting. Fox did a good job trying to make that show something on TV. And like Larry Mack was talking about like gear temps and
yeah,
drivetrain temps. And that
yeah.
doesn't matter at most tracks because it just doesn't because you're not wide open all the ways around. So
But
like,
when you're at a super
but
speedway, you
like
got to get them
Daytona,
hubs hot.
it does probably matter. It doesn't matter much, but if it's a thousandth of a second, that it matters. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know. I kind of like to go back to just like let's do the practice, qualify from the bottom to the top. That's what I would like to see personally. And I don't want the open cars separated. I really want them mixed in with the other cars when they do that. Reason being, if you do it in practice, it gives people to go out and earn something in practice, and practice matters a little bit. I kind of like it when practice matters, honestly.
Yeah.
So, um, you know, that was another note. Good to see them have practice. They had like 3 practices this week, so good job NASCAR for that. Thursday night we go in the duels. Do you call it duels or duels?
It's duels
With an A or with an E?
with an A because that's how it's spelled. It's two. Let me give you a lesson here. When you spell it with an E, that's like when you challenge
I
somebody to a duel.
I understand. So I'm telling you right now, for the longest time, when it was the Gatorade Duels, it was a Gatorade Duels, Duel. You can look it up. You can Google it. I haven't, but you can. I'm telling you, that's what
Okay.
it was. So
Okay.
I go with the duel. This was a big issue on X
Yeah, I saw
on
all about
Thursday.
that.
Um, it looked like some of the new people were saying duels like you, but I'm pretty sure Gatorade Duel. I'll look it up here. Let's see. Uh, and they called them like for a while they were the Gatorade Twin 25s or something like that. Gatorade Duels at Daytona logo. See if I can find it. Yes, it says Gatorade Duel at Daytona. It says Blue Green Vacations Duel at Daytona. That was the one that was on the. Oh God, that was the worst one. The absolute. That was the one on the road course.
Yeah.
So it went from the 125s to the dual DUEL. So that's what I've always called it. That's what I'm going to continue to call it. You can call it whatever you like, but I just want to let you know I'm right and you're wrong. So
Okay.
deal with it. Uh, and by the way, I think it was like, is it Bianchi or Gluck or somebody had posted that on X. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, you know how this is supposed to be. But I kind of, did the same thing. So, anyways, worked out. But yeah. So duel number 1, was that Chandler Smith? I think that was Chandler
Yeah.
Smith. Yeah. So Chandler Smith. All right. So that's 66 car.
Yeah. We know a thing or two about that one.
No, but anyways, so Chandler, that was an MBM Motorsports Garage 66 Cup car. That was their car. I think they probably rented a motor more than likely because it was fast. Like it was fast. Like, I was surprised to see the speed in that car. I'm guessing they had a motor. Chandler Smith is on contract with somebody, I think, but I can't remember because he was also the one to end the year last year in trucks. I was like, nope, this is it for me. I'm done. Never racing
Yeah, I
again.
think
And I was
I
like, dude, quit being a pouty face. You're racing. You're a good
yeah.
driver. Don't think Chandler Smith's a terrible driver. I really don't. Um, he was in the 66. It was early in that one, maybe like 15 laps into that first one, and he tried to go clear to the bottom. He was not clear. He cleared himself. It's pretty obvious he cleared himself on the TV broadcast, and he missed it, and it happens, and it's a shame. He junked it. He junked a couple other cars with him. He was an open car, had to get in, had to do what he had to do. It was a tough one because you also had Jimmy Johnson, Allgaier, and there was one more. Was Truex in that first one too? Maybe. I
It
think
might
I
have
can't
been
remember.
Castroneves, wasn't it? Maybe. Or was he in the second one? I couldn't
He was
remember.
already locked in. It didn't matter. Either way, like he had going against Allgaier and Jimmy Johnson was going to be tough. And I was impressed actually with him because, like I said, he was running up front, and I was like, "Oh my god, that '66 car is usually getting lapped." So I was surprised to see him up there, and he was doing a good job. And it looks like MBM got some help there, so good for them. And like I said, he can drive. He just got impatient, man. That was he saw a chance to probably pull the bottom and get the lead. It was too early in that race for that. He missed it. Everything was fine. Now this is where it went bad. Did you see his interview at the Care Center?
I did, but I don't remember what he
Okay,
said.
so basically he gets out and they're like, "All right, yeah, man, what happened?" And he was like, "Well, my spotter said I was clear. My mirror wasn't working. My, whatever the camera mirror, whatever.
Yeah,
What do you call that? My rear view camera or
that's
whatever.
what they
It
had.
wasn't working. The hard mirror was at a bad angle and I couldn't see, and my spotter cleared me." I'm like, okay.
Excuses.
So, not your fault, Chandler. Understood. So, it took about all of 36 seconds for X to find the spotter audio, and the spotter said, "Bumper, bumper, bumper, bumper. Are you okay?"
Yeah, yeah.
So, maybe this was the comment of the day that I heard when I was talking to somebody else about this. He's like, "Yeah, the mirror wasn't working and the rearview camera wasn't working. Apparently, his headphones weren't working either."
Yeah,
So,
yeah. That's a good
um,
one.
hate that for Chandler, but come on, dude. Like, take a little bit of responsibility. Like, watch the replay and at least know what you did because you were not clear. Hashtag not clear. I mean, I don't. It happens, but it's what it is. Anyways, at that point, that pretty much put Allgaier in the show because Jimmy Johnson was going to be locked in on speed. So he kind of pretty much just had to beat like one car. I can't even remember what car.
Yaley and
Yaley.
Allgaier were racing
That's
for the
right.
spot.
That's right. JJ Yaley.
Battle of the whiskey cars. They were both driving whiskey sponsored
Yeah,
cars.
man. And the weird thing about it is like Allgaier was running up in that pack and then pulled out and then got dumped back there. Dude, for a minute, I thought they were going to be 3 wide on the last lap. And then Allgaier kind of got up past Yaley a little bit, and he ended up doing okay. But they would have had to add cars if Allgaier didn't make it. There was no way Yaley was passing Tech. Sorry, JJ. NASCAR wanted the Junior Motorsports in there, and a little foreshadowing of the race. But I would say, based off what I've seen today on the internet, Dale Jr.'s buying a charter by the
Oh yeah, for
100%.
sure.
So maybe 2. We'll see. The best part of that duel at the end was Jeff Gordon comes over there and it's like Kelly and LW, and Gordon walks up to him. He's like, "Yeah, y'all gotta buy a damn charter or something. I can't breathe." Trying to watch them get in.
Yeah.
They were like, yeah. So they got in. That was cool. I don't think anybody in NASCAR was pulling for that 40 car not to make the race. So really glad he made it. I put in here, so that was in the first one. I put in here something about RFK professional screw up wrecks the field. Oh, it was the pitting. Is that what it was?
I think so.
So I'm trying to remember the details on that one. Dang. What did they do? Oh no, I'm sorry. It was on the backstretch. So they pitted by himself, and they were getting past. And Brad and Busher do this like Joey Logano-esque, like, let me put the field in a moving chicane going down the backstretch, and also moved during that and caused that wreck. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, I mean, and I really wanted to get TJ Major's ear and just be like, "Hey, listen, last year you would have said this was unacceptable if Joey did it, but now you're doing it with Brad, so shut up." Like, I mean, and that has become something that people do to try to stay a part of it, but like not in a duel, man. Just get out of the way and go a lap down. Y'all are in the race. It don't matter. I'm sorry. Like, you're just being an idiot, wreck the field. I wasn't a fan of it. They did that whole like split. One took the top line, one took the middle, and they made him go like, "Ee!" And then I think it was Brad moved, and I was like, man, just race better than that, but it happens. The other thing is, so then we get out there, the uh the second thing they get to the end of it, and you have Eric Jones. They wreck coming to the checker. This whole wrecking coming to the
man.
checker. It's going to be a long discussion. This podcast
Yeah,
is going to be a long one when we get to that.
I
But
got a rant about that,
all
but
right, good.
I'll guess I'll save
We'll
it.
get there in a minute. So, anyways, so the caution comes out like 20 feet before the start finish line. So Eric Jones ends up losing to Austin Cindric, even though he had to run, was going to pass him in 20 feet. And if they would let him go the extra 20 feet and 0.002 seconds, they would have got to the finish line. Then they could have thrown the yellow. They decided to throw the yellow before they got there, paused the field because somebody hit the wall head on.
Yeah.
That was what they said, right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, so that happened. So we're going to talk about more of that
Yeah.
in a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So anyways, they call the caution. Poor Eric Jones is like standing out there, like, yeah.
It's funny. He gets out of the car
Yeah.
and he's like, walks over for the interview, and they're not talking to him. He's just standing there, just
Yeah. My favorite was when he walked to get the flag and they wouldn't give it to him.
yeah.
I felt so bad for him
Yeah.
at that point. But so he gets over there and like, I mean, he's just standing there. But anyways, here's the point. So they threw the caution. Everybody's like, all right, well, I guess that's what we're doing. It's safety. In the name of safety, I've heard every freaking professional non-fan, like spotter, driver, all these podcasts talk about, we have got to put the caution out immediately for driver safety. I don't want nobody to get hurt, so I get it. I'm not when it comes to safety, I'm not going to say no, we can't do that as a fan because that means that I'm as a fan saying I want drivers to get hurt, which I don't. So that's ignorant. But anyway, so we get that. So we have the caution comes out, whatever. Austin Cindric wins. Nobody cares. It's a duel, right? Doesn't really matter that much. Felt bad for Eric Jones. Eric Jones needs some positives in his life. He hasn't had any in a minute. So I did feel bad for Eric Jones. I do think they showed decent speed. They'll be good at the plate races, probably going forward for the rest of the year. But anyways, the only other thing I noticed in the duels that I was going to point out now was, dude, on them gas and goes, them Gibbs guys were like holding up
iPads with the timer. Yep.
And I'm like, okay, so we are really officially fuel mileage racing everywhere we go now. Perfect. Not. And I guess there's like a countdown clock of how much fuel they needed to get the thing full. So it was cool. Turn green wherever they got there. It's interesting. I like it. And more technology is gooder. So I'm ready for them to start just have something on the wall, like at each pit stall, that's telling the driver whatever information or, you know, what they're doing, how much time they have, split time. You know, I think that'd be cool. I did like it. I would really be okay with them putting it in the dash, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Problem is, if they do that, it's probably something that they would have to have some kind of connection with the box, and then they're going to figure out how to cheat. So, you know, kind of is what it is as far as that goes. So, just an interesting thing. That's where we've got to is that now the gas matters so much that a tenth of a second that you save by having a green light instead of having somebody say go 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 go. If you get a fast reaction time with your eyes, it's better. So. Interesting. Also, there were some guys that did not get enough gas multiple times trying to do that. So, I just want to point that out. But and that we get to Sunday, Daytona 500. They move it up an hour because of rain.
And then we make 12 laps or whatever it was.
Dude, it wasn't even that the first time. Yeah, I guess it was 12. Well, it was like
it was either
6
12 or 11.
It was like 6 or 8, and then they rolled for 5, and then they put the red out. So it's like 1 hour, 1.5 hour delay. Great for me because I was driving home. I was like, yes, it's going to rain. I'm going to get to catch the end of this. So they actually get the thing back going. And I was like, dang, I'm not going to catch the end. Lap 20, put the red back out, park him again for another hour, hour and a half. Then they got him back on the track, and I listened to the first half on the Motor Racing Network, and they made it sound super exciting. Did it look exciting on TV? I'm curious.
Not really.
Like the middle of the race. Until the last stop when fuel didn't matter, did it look? It had to look good.
I mean, it looked okay, but
like
I mean,
3 wide, like the whole race,
still,
right?
Yeah, I mean, it looks cool, but you know, as for somebody that doesn't understand what's going on, it probably looks freaking awesome that they're going 3 wide the whole way around.
Yeah.
But like, as a race fan that knows what's going on and like they're barely even moving half throttle.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, okay, we're just cruising down the highway, you
Yeah.
know.
I was like listening to it, and they did. I mean, like total props to MRN. Like this is like breathtaking radio. They're 3 wide. Joey Logano's making a move in the middle. Blah 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 blah. Blah. I mean, 3 wide, 3 wide, 3 wide, 3 wide,
Yeah.
3 wide. And yeah, it's awesome and everything. But truth is, they're really just saving gas. And like I said, they're running like 56% throttle. What I didn't know was interesting is on that digital dash to have a throttle percentage, and that's how they're telling them to run it. We probably need to go ahead and do away with that as far as I'm concerned. And I want to go ahead and do away with them being able to track throttle percentage from the pit box as well, just for the record. And that
I'm just running off RPM then. I mean,
that's fine because they'll miscalculate that at some point. It'll be harder somewhere. It will be harder.
I don't know, man.
Anyways, the whole point is, so these guys are essentially what we've come to in super speedway racing, and we're going to see it at Atlanta when we go this weekend, probably. Although I'm not sure that track is going to race full. Like we might not be drafting as hard. I'm curious to see. We'll see.
Yeah.
This fuel thing, like it's all about your last stop and when once you're cleared. And they're like 3 wide, 3 wide. You can make some moves. Joey Logano, props to him. He restarted that second stage at the back, drove to the front. After getting his, I think they said he got
some kind of plastic bag.
Yeah,
stuck
like a
in his
Walmart bag in his throttle body, like a 3-cent Walmart bag. Just messed up a $300,000 race car. Good job, guys. Clean your trash up. This ain't. I mean, golly, don't get me started on that rant either.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's cool. I'm glad that didn't ruin his day. Because I needed him to have his day ruined later, which we're about to get to. So they get through the fuel saving there. We have that caution. They weren't that caution, were they? They weren't that caution. Here, let me check the notes. I'm pretty sure they weren't that caution.
I think so, because there was a wreck before that, wasn't there?
Yes. With conclusion. It was the debris caution.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was 2 debris cautions in this race.
The first one happened or was it the first one was right before Joey was going to get lapped, wasn't it?
Yes. That was that was when I was still listening on the radio. The second one happened right after they all got in their fuel window.
Yeah.
Debris. I never saw debris on Fox.
Me neither.
I'm just saying, I'd never seen the debris.
Yeah.
I would be curious to know what the debris was. We've done this before. I mean, I'm okay with it, but I'm also like not that okay with it. So, yeah, watch the debris caution as the year goes. I don't want to bring that back. But anyways, so okay, let me clarify. There are going to be more debris cautions if we bring cars back on the racetrack after being wrecked. It is what it is.
For sure.
It's going to happen.
That's always going to be a thing.
There's no way to get by it, and I'd probably be okay with it because I'd probably be okay with a few more cautions than we had last year throughout the season. So it is what it is. And here's the thing. This was my biggest point. After that caution, though, they couldn't really go 3 wide ever because everybody's pedal, right? Like pedal down. We're not saving nothing. Although some of them were having to save because they didn't put enough gas in the car to not save. And I'm like,
Kyle Busch.
Yeah. And I'm like, if you're a driver, that has to be miserable.
Oh, yeah.
Does it not? When they're like, okay, just save. And you're like, we just got pitted the last time. Why am I saving? You know?
Didn't get enough in the car.
And they're like, well, we're trying to get you out. And Kyle Busch did get out. He went from like 10th to like 4th. So, ended up getting caught up in a wreck, which we're about to talk about. But anyway, so then they get going there. Joey, in my opinion, from what I'd watched when I got back to house, which is the start of stage 3 there, like he had the fastest car probably. He was a rocket ship coming up through there. And I wanted to get your take on the Ricky Stenhouse versus Joey Logano impact. Obviously, Joey saw a hole, went to the hole. 47 saw a hole and tried to block it, and they ended up hitting like 5 times for like a half mile of the racetrack and wrecked. Whose fault was it?
Man, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but it's honestly kind of a racing deal, especially with how the cars are now and how the racing is there. And when you get an opportunity, you have to try to take it, and the guy up front's always going to try to block it, especially when it's the 47 car. I mean, he did have a hole and then the hole was not there, and he maybe could have backed out of it a little bit, but at the same time, he didn't have to. And
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough call for sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's fair assessment. I think so. I've heard it both ways. That's what I think is interesting. You know, after the race, you had team owners, including the ones that I usually side with, the ones that own this car, the Chevy ones, the Hendrick ones, Jeff Gordon, my man, William Byron, also kind of my man, like was like, yeah, Joey, 22, 47, whatever, I can't remember which one they said, but now that I think about it. But anyways, it's like, I heard it both ways that, 47 block, I heard people say Joey didn't have to go there. He was pushing it too early, yada, yada, yada. There wasn't really a hole there. I think it was Gordon that said there wasn't really a hole there. And I was like, I mean, there was a hole there.
Yeah,
um, he didn't
just
have.
went away real quick.
So my thing is from both perspectives. All right, from Joey's perspective, there was a hole. He went there, and then in that split second, the first time they made contact, he could have backed off and not gone for it. He
Yeah.
didn't do that. From Ricky's perspective, same thing. He blocked him, got hit once, could have gone back high, but he didn't go back high, and Joey didn't lift. And then, like, at that point, they were both kind of stuck, committed,
Yeah.
and they were going to wreck. Like, because
Yeah.
the hole closed up on the outside for Ricky, and then Joey's getting run into about the 4. And, like, there's no, I mean, because he
There's no,
lifted.
yeah.
One thing that is super cool about these cars in this, ain't nobody lying about if they lifted or not, because the
Yeah.
fuel's coming out the pipes
Yeah.
instantly. I really do like that about these cars, with being right there out the door on both
Yeah.
sides. It's a pretty cool visual. But like, um, you know, I don't know. I felt like Ricky made a bad block, and I would be curious to hear the radio. I think if you're Joey, you just kind of got to know, like, well, I say it's kind of his fault. He's got to know who he's racing, man. Like,
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
and they both kind of have a reputation for being super aggressive and all that. And I just feel like Joey's car was so fast, man. If he could have just been a little bit more patient, and then
Oh
like
yeah, he
Ricky wasn't
definitely
going to
would
be
have
up
got him.
there. Ricky wasn't that fast, so
Yeah.
kind of a shame to see that happen. We get through that wreck, then we get to the Ryan Priest wreck. Is that up next?
Yeah.
Man.
That's
Wait, hold on
really-
a second. We got a quote I need to get in here. I forgot. Daniel Watkins. This is a quote that I got sent to me today. What in the hell was Joey Logano thinking? And that's a Joey Logano fan
Yeah.
said that.
Yeah.
He is kind of a Ryan Blaney fan now,
It's
but
still Penske. Still Penske.
as far as fan reaction goes, that's bomb. Y'all need to send us some of this on a weekly basis. It'd be a lot more fun. But I mean, I think the answer to what he was thinking was he wanted to win and he didn't want to wait because he's impatient.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. He should have waited. That's what I was thinking, and I think Ricky shouldn't have blocked him. I think they're both in the wrong. So that kind of comes down to a racing deal. So I actually kind of like your assessment. I just think they're both idiots. If I was picking
They
idiot
are,
of the
yeah.
week, I would give them co-idiot of the week, if that makes sense. So knucklehead moves for sure on both parts. But anyways, all right, moving on to that. So then we get to the pre-wreck, I guess. Man, that was
Wild.
sketchy. Like you had some cars up there, Ham was up there, Eric Jones was up there. I mean, I don't even exactly know how that wreck started. I don't think anybody cares because I just got sucked into watching a car do a wheelie and just
Yeah.
take off. Like, it was weird how he got pinched, kind of between Bell and Jones, and like how it sent it up and like this wheel jumping thing. Like, so we see that at the dirt track from time to
Yeah,
time
on
in
open
some
wheel.
classes, but like, so that's twice we've seen that in these next gen cars now because we had the same thing at the Clash, right?
Yeah.
With Ty Gibbs.
Yep.
And I'm like, what exactly is different? Like the tires don't stick out. It's like you just said, like on an open wheel car, you see this, and like
Yeah.
it is what it is. On these Cup cars, like I don't know why they're doing that. And they probably need to figure that out because that is kind of the problem. As far as my personal opinion, I'm not an engineer, so I can't tell you. But once that car gets about yay angle right there, I don't know that it matters what's on the bottom of it. The way I see it, there's a lot of air coming under that at 150 mile an hour, and it's probably going to push and go over. it's literally just a physics equation at that point. NASCAR's
Yeah.
going to have to figure that out, and if there's some way they can let some air through, or get rid of the floor pan. Um, do you feel like they should get rid of? I know everybody's wanting to get rid of it, but what are the? I don't know. See, like I'm not an engineer, so I don't know what all that would do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm no engineer either. It's just, it seems like, they think they're trying to fix these cars flipping. At the end of the day, race cars are going to flip
Well,
in every series. We've seen it last year with Corey LaJoy at Michigan. Sometimes shit just hits the fan and the wind blows the wrong way and blows it over.
yeah. I mean, like, so the thing about this car is, I really feel like if this car is backwards or sideways, it's good.
Yeah.
And it's like, who has ever thought that I need to be worried about a race car going straight,
Yeah.
going airborne?
Yeah.
And I don't know what the answer is. That I don't know if they need to figure out how to keep them from that hit, putting it up in the air. To me, it looked like it was almost like a ping pong ball, boom, up, and then when it got hit from the other side, that just shot it up more, and then that thing just rode there like on the freaking diffuser for like I
Yeah.
mean a couple hundred yards. It felt like, and then it
Yeah.
just
I
and
mean, you just watch the clip and you just see it just how effortlessly it gets picked up by the wind.
yeah.
And you're like, oh, wait, that weighs 3,600 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
My favorite part was whenever the wheel stopped spinning. I'm like,
Yeah.
Ryan, did you just press the brake pedal through the floor midair?
Yeah.
I was like, well, I guess brace for impact.
Yeah.
I heard Bubba was talking about it on the podcast too, and I was like, I'm glad I wasn't the only one that noticed that. I was like, dang, that was pretty crazy. But glad to see Priest was okay, man. That was a hard hit. Dude, these cars do not scrub any speed when they're upside down. Like when they're upside down, I mean, it was moving so fast when it's on its lid like that.
Yeah.
I was glad it flipped back over and hit the wall with the back end. The only hit we really hadn't seen with these cars is
It's a halo to a wall.
a halo to the wall, and I'm scared to see that, and I'm scared to see one in the catch fence. We hadn't really seen one in the catch fence. Was Kyle Larson in the Xfinity? Was that the last big one in the catch fence?
Yeah,
I'm
I
trying
mean,
to
that
think.
was years and years ago.
Yeah, and you had Keselowski put Carl Edwards in the catch fence, but like it's been a while since we've seen him in the catch fence. So overall, I feel like we're doing pretty good on that. I know that the drivers are talking about wanting to adapt those rubber pucks like they're putting in sprint cars now.
Yeah.
Just to try to cushion some of the blow, and that looked like a hard hit when that thing
Yeah.
came back down, man. So glad Priest is okay. He had very strong words after. I don't know what they can do.
For sure.
I guess they can get rid of the floor pan, but man, so if they do that, that diffuser's attached to the floor pan. Say that 5 times fast. Floor pan. That diffuser has that trap door that when you get turned around backwards keeps you on the ground. So
Yeah.
like, is getting rid of that really the answer? I don't know. Like I think I told you earlier, I don't know if there's some way they can funnel air through the bottom out the cowl scoops or something. I have no idea. I'm not an engineer, but I'm sure NASCAR will look at it. I'm glad Priest is okay, and we'll see what happens.
I want to make one mention about
Yeah.
Ryan Priest today. So he changed his Twitter profile picture, and I'm going to show it up here on my camera.
Oh yeah, the astronaut suit.
Yeah, they got him in the NASA suit.
Yeah, that's pretty good. He should have gone SpaceX and then see if he could get Elon to sign it.
Maybe. He could have got a sponsor there.
But yeah, so anyways, I'm glad Priest is okay. It is definitely like a reality check when somebody starts talking about I have a kid, they're midair, and we don't want to see that. It's been a long time since we had one die in NASCAR. We don't want to see that anytime soon. That's probably not the word you're supposed to say. You're probably supposed to say had a tragic accident, but like that's the truth. We hadn't seen it in NASCAR and don't want to ever again.
Yeah.
So hopefully NASCAR can figure that out. I just don't know, like with super speedway racing currently, what you can do. I mean, I hate to say that, but it's just kind of the name of the game. These cars don't spread out really in the draft. Even the front cars can't really pull away. And I don't know what to do. The last cars before this were really good in the draft. They might have been terrible at 1.5 miles or whatever. But honestly, they got to where they were good. So hopefully we'll get it figured out, the package or whatever, and get that there. But glad Ryan's okay. Hope his eyes weren't what they were last time.
Yeah, that
And I
was.
hope he's okay going into Atlanta. I mean, somebody like him has those tough hits and then have to turn around and go to Atlanta and do the same crap the next week. That's got to be tough. And
Yeah.
Ryan, he's a tough guy for sure, doing the modified thing and always working on his own stuff. So, uh, glad he's all right. So we go back up, we do the restart, green white checker, right? Um, so they go back, they take the white flag. Riley Herbst goes sliding through the grass. I was like, well, that's the end of it.
Fucking Tokyo Drift.
Dude, I thought they were going to throw the caution as
I
soon as
did
he was in the
too.
grass.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you, uh, that so far is leading candidate for save of the year.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I was like, this guy needs a sprint car. I've never seen him drive dirt or rally or nothing, but dude, he had that thing like, I mean, the
Yawed
whole
out, son.
oval. And best part is, he finished 19th in the wreck later
Really?
that we're about to get to. Yeah,
Oh man.
yeah. So because they all wrecked and he just
Yeah.
drove past them because he was by himself. But props to Riley for saving it, not cutting it back up into the field, and taking out the rest of the field and ending the race and letting us get a good finish as fans. I think he probably earned himself a lot of respect with the fans just from not overcorrecting and taking out half the
Yeah.
field and letting that thing end up going back to the line, which we're about to talk about. So anyways, we had the 41 car Custer.
Yeah.
We had Hamlin, and I don't remember who else is up there. Doesn't really matter because they all wrecked. I think it was 41 got into the side of the 11.
Yeah.
They spun
Hendrick
down.
was out front trying to
Yeah.
block too.
Yeah, and had a big wreck like you're pretty much expecting, unfortunately, at this point. And I thought they were going to caution. At first they kind of did that, like they kind of all drove off, but then at the end of that, somebody took a massive head-on hit, like right in the turn 3 entry, and I was like, well, that's got to be it. And typical NASCAR fashion, they got barbecued for calling that race, like we talked about with Eric Jones in the duel. They were like, we're going back to the line. So you had William Byron, who had, like, I don't know, 10, 12 car length lead on Reddick.
Yeah.
And then nobody after that,
Jimmy
pretty much.
Johnson came in somewhere behind that.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. To my sister, no, that does not count as third place finish for Jimmy Johnson. It does on the record book, but he was not.
Not officially.
I'm just glad he finished the race because he's been
Yeah.
embarrassing himself since he came back. So I'm glad he finished. But yeah, that was tough. So they let him go back to the yellow, to the line. Then they throw the yellow after like top 3 or 5 or something pass. I'm curious. There's 2 questions. This is a 2-part question. 1, do you want them to throw the caution? 2, do you care, or do you just want to see consistency? Like, did they do the right thing or not? And then, is this now the expectation going forwards?
So, first off, obviously, when there's a big wreck like that, the first thing you want to take care of is you want to make sure everybody's safe. You don't want anybody getting hurt with somebody, like especially the big track like that. If you got people in the back and somebody's wrecked coming down the straightaway or whatever, you don't want them to get absolutely just plowed into.
Yeah.
But also, you got to stay damn consistent. I mean,
yeah,
if you're gonna throw the caution for that little wreck in the duel, I know it's a duel compared to the Daytona 500. It's not exactly the same race, but it's the same race. I mean, you got to stay consistent. Like, it's NASCAR has a history of this. They never want to be consistent with anything.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's really irritating to watch that happen over and over and over again.
Yeah. So I agree 100%. In defense of NASCAR, if this is the change going forwards and we've reacted, and as long as nobody gets hurt, I think it's okay.
I would agree.
So I just hope we see that same thing, at Atlanta we're going. Hope we see that there, and hope nobody gets hurt. A lot of people, this is kind of my take, a lot of people have been like, well, let's just freeze the field that's wrecked and then let so-and-so race back. Well, no, we can't really do that either, unfortunately, because if you do that, they're still wrecking, and you got guys. If they come down to, say, the Daytona cutoff race, okay?
Yeah.
and this was in my head. We have Daytona as a cutoff race going to the playoffs, right? If this happens, and let's say you're Riley Herbst, who wrecked on the front stretch, and you got to get everything you can get, and there's 30 cars sitting on the back stretch stopped because you got so far behind from where you almost wrecked on the front stretch. You're doing 150 and they're stopped. You're not slowing down,
Yeah.
right? Like, because you got to pass them. You got to pass everybody you can. So you got to have to hope that you're like passing wrecked cars coming to the line. You're doing 150 and they're doing 10, 20 stopped. And that different
That's scary.
that delta is when you have bad wrecks, right? And so I don't know. I don't really like the whole freeze the field thing. Also, like I think that the ARCA deal where Helio got taken out after the race was over because the dude didn't know the race was over.
Yeah. That's
Dumbass. Like that's a pretty good indicator to me too. Like because some guys are like, well, you can roll the safety crew on the backstretch, and I'm like,
no,
listen, you can't because what if they
no.
don't know the race is over
Yeah.
and they don't if they're not locking it down hard, dude, you can't have some guy out there in a pickup truck and it gets smoked by a cup
A
car
race
doing
car, yeah.
150. That pickup truck would get knocked over the fence, like kill people. So everybody's got to be safe. We got to find a balance. I like the call. I really like for the finish. I hate when the Daytona 500 ends under yellow.
Yeah.
When
It sucks.
when we don't
Any
get to run
race.
back to the line, it's hard.
Yeah.
And so I'm torn on it. Like I don't want anybody getting hurt, and I hate to see NASCAR make this. I do think this is a change that they decided they were going to make. I think they sat down in their meeting and said, "Look, end of this race, we're going to let this thing race back to the line." And I think that's probably what you're going to see going forwards. I think NASCAR's made a lot of changes over the last few years, obviously new cars, all this stuff, and I think some of them have been for the better, even though we've probably been reluctant to take them. I think honestly, even stages, a lot of people hate on them. I think NASCAR's better with stages. Sorry, it does take away from some of the racing for the traditionalist, but it adds to the strategy. We have strategy
Yeah.
on super speedways now that we haven't had. It's obnoxious if you just want to watch them race, but like if you really think about it, have we ever raced Daytona 500 for 500 miles? No,
No.
right?
Never.
So there's always been riding. It used to be single car at the top of the track or whatever. So I don't know. I'm okay with it. I just hope nobody gets hurt, and I hope it's consistent at least for this year. That's now the precedent's been set. So
Yeah.
hopefully we stick to it. I guess that's my take on it. Anyways, William Byron comes out the winner. Congratulations to William. Wins Daytona 500. Kind of gets overshadowed by the Ryan Preece wreck and the yellow not getting called. Honestly, like I think that's probably
Yeah.
bigger topics conversation. To me, that car winning, like I'm diehard grow up Jeff Gordon fan. Like that
That car
car
was awesome.
was like sweet back DuPont flames and everything. Like super traditional DuPont flame paint scheme. Better than the rainbow scheme by far. My favorite paint scheme on a race car. And William Byron is kind of doing things that I think he's kind of slowly maybe about to be the best driver in NASCAR if we don't watch out. I think he need to get rid of that Blaney girl, and now he's a stud. um, kind of. So I'm glad to see William doing great, and really cool to see Hendrick get a win. Obviously, as a fan, 1-0 Chevy. That's all I got to say. So,
Oh yeah.
overall, though, I thought the race was pretty good. Glad to see them getting that. This was the one thing we didn't really talk about. Do you feel like the Toyotas were just absolutely like hitting a brick wall when they pulled out in the front?
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
They could push pretty good, but they could not be the leader.
So Bubba pushed Chase for a while in that stage, the last stage when I was watching, and then Chase was pushing Bubba, and like he was in his bumper the whole time. But, like, dude, when Bubba got out in the lead, like it looked like he hit a wall, couldn't go nowhere. Chase finally got off of Bubba's bumper for a minute and pushed Byron. It was like quick, and then got back behind Bubba, and I was like, "What are you doing? They're slow." And like I hate to say it, there's just something about them was slow. The Fords were quick, Cindric was quick, Blaney was quick. Logano was obviously quick. Priest was up there.
Bell was up there too most
Yeah.
of the day.
So like it was. I don't know. Overall, it was a decent 500. I hate to be that guy, but the 500 is just not. They call it the Super Bowl of racing, but it's like, it's not though. I mean, It's not the most respected race to win to a race fan that wants to see a driver, right? I mean, I feel like Darlington's harder to win. Pocono, it's probably harder to win. Indy, harder to win. Martinsville, harder to win. Bristol. I mean, it's kind of a crapshoot, but
It kind of is, but it's like, I mean,
it
it
still
is the biggest
counts.
race of the year,
Yeah,
fan wise, and that
yeah,
it's not necessarily that it's going to be the best race of the year,
yeah,
or that kind of thing, but like the fans that always show up for that and the excitement that everybody has, it's the first race back. Everybody's real excited. There's all pretty much for the last few years. I think it's been a sold out crowd, and I mean,
yeah.
it's just kind of got that rapport built up around it.
I guess my point is like if somebody like a Kyle Busch, Brad Keselowski, not Ryan Blaney, we'll say William Byron, even though he's won two. Somebody like that goes and doesn't win a 500. I just don't know that it hurts like it used to. Like,
Yeah,
I don't think Rusty ever won one. Tony Stewart, I don't think ever won a 500. Um, like that was something that they were always kind of missing. I just don't. You get these crap winners on them, and like I don't know. If you're up there, you get wrecked, or if you're up there, sometimes you win. Like Byron basically won that race from 10th.
yeah,
I mean, he wasn't really in contention. He was up there early, but he had got shuffled and just got lucky.
yeah.
So I don't know. It just it kind of sucks, but we'll see what happens. Anyways, moving on. We're not going to talk any about Xfinity and trucks really, because we're running out of time. But basically, Jesse Love wins after Austin Hill breaks. RCR still dominating Xfinity Series plate racing. I expect to see that again this week. We're about to get in the picks. We'll get to that. Trucks Friday night.
Kligerman technically won the race, but it was a little too low in the rear, so Corey Heim was declared the winner after that one.
I mean, absolute. Everybody in NASCAR is excited to see Parker
Oh
Kligerman win
yeah,
that race. What's that? Henderson Motorsports out of like Wise, Virginia or something. It's
something
somewhere
like
right up
that.
around the Tri-Cities area. Gets the win. Awesome. Glad to see that for Parker. And then just to get DQ'd. I'm like, damn. He got screwed by that caution at Charlotte and
Roval, yeah,
Xfinity last year, and then this, and it's just like, God, they were appealing it. I don't think it's going to do any good, but they are going to appeal it. We'll see what happens. Um, really glad to see that for that team. Anyways, they should put their heads up high. Hate to see the thing about ride height. I'm trying to learn some of this technical crap, but it's something about spacer, bump stop. I don't know. Something the shocks sit on got bent. I don't know. Unfortunately, got DQ'd. Oh, I missed it. Did Byron hit the wall on purpose while we're talking about DQs? Yes or no?
on which part?
Burnout. Byron
I don't
hit the
think I
wall.
don't think that was on purpose. No,
Man, I didn't at
man.
first, but every time I watched it today, dude. And here's the thing: I went back and I was watching his in car. On that, they told him on the restart they used some kind of weird code, and they said headlight
Hmm.
for some reason. And then he puts the headlight in the wall, and I'm like, what in the hell? It's weird. Just curious if Chad Canal stuck his head in the window. We'll have to see if we can find some tape of Rudy Fugle or Jeff Gordon or Chad Canals or somebody. And they're like, all right, after this thing, you wreck it. All right, all right. Really curious to see if NASCAR makes any comments. Because at one point, that was kind of a thing like, guys, you got to
Yeah.
quit doing this. So we'll see. All right. Anyways, moving on that. All right, we're going to get on the picks and get on out of here. Picks. Last week, we tied 2-2, and I don't know a way to do a tiebreaker, so we're just going to call it a tie. What Outlaws? Bobby Pierce versus Ryan Gustin. You picked Bobby Pierce. He did get the win over the Reaper, Ryan Gustin. He finished second on Thursday. By the way, I only did these for the World Outlaws races. I did not do that for the other ones. But I don't think that Pierce raced all of them, and I don't think Gustin raced all
Yeah.
of them. So I don't really think it would have mattered. But, yeah. Pierce was second on Thursday, gets you the dub in that round. The second was Cleater to finish 200 miles. We both voted yes. Both went airball on that. I should have
Unfortunately.
put no. I was just trying to think positively.
Yeah.
Trucks, we went Hemrick versus uh,
Friesen.
Friesen, and the 19. I feel like I don't have that right. I don't have that right. The 19 finished 7th, not 2nd there. I know I put that in notes as 2nd for some reason. But he did get the dub over Friesen, who finished like 17th. So um, good job on that one. I picked Friesen. You took that point. So good job. I got to take that off for me, actually, too. So I actually only got one right, so you actually won the week. So good thing I took a lot of time to do these notes after being out of town all weekend. You just have to forgive me. So you won the week. Congratulations. Hope it feels good. Enjoy it because you're not winning the next one. All right.
Yeah, bull crap.
Next up, we had Allgaier versus Brandon Jones. The one I did get correct was Justin Allgaier did indeed beat Brandon Jones. And then in the Cup, it was Kyle Busch versus Kyle Larson. We both picked KFB, and KFB got taken out, and I think it was a priest wreck. So he just kind of got bumped and sent down the inside wall and got pissed off with NASCAR because he didn't understand the rules. So he'll learn that this week for sure. But yeah, so you end up getting the win 2-1. Congratulations. Going into this week, we only had the races. So I've got 2 oddball questions and 3 races: Cup, Trucks, Xfinity. We did not have a dirt race really this weekend. The toilet bowl thing was supposed to be this weekend. They moved it due to weather. I don't know if you know, but it's going to be cold as crap. So, anyways, first pick. Number of cars airborne at Atlanta to be under 0.05, as in 0. So, will anybody flip it at Atlanta?
Yes, I will take the over.
You're going to take the over.
I will.
All right. I'm going to take the...
Oh, on this, just to clarify, are we talking about Xfinity and Trucks and Cup? Okay,
yes.
Yeah. Give me the over.
Yeah, I think you're probably right, but I'm going to not do it anyways. I'll just go no. Just for the hell of it. I don't know, man. It's probably going to happen. I probably should put it at 1.5. That'd have made it more interesting. Your Cup race pick. Ryan Blaney versus Chase Elliott in honor of me versus Watkins. Since we're going to be there, I figured I'd make that the pick. Who you going to go with, the 9 or the 12?
I'm going to go ahead and take the 9. I think the hometown boys going to get it done.
Hometown boy. I'm going to take the 12 because Daniel's going to be there, so it's definitely going to be the 12.
No.
I hope to God I'm wrong. I do. I'll drink about it if I am. But,
never hear the end of it.
I'll never hear the end of it, and I'll never be happier. I'll be happy to be wrong about that. In the trucks, this is an interesting pick. I picked KFB versus the Michael McDowell. Reason I think that's interesting, they're both running Spire trucks. One is in the 7 and one is in the 07. So this is like equal equipment. Michael McDowell versus Kyle Busch in the truck series.
I mean,
the drafting track.
Is this even a question?
Yeah,
Michael
it is.
Good at drafting, but it's Kyle fucking Busch in a truck. I mean,
easy. Golly, I'm going to have to put the explicit on this now. Golly. I'll give it to you. I'm going to go with Michael McDowell. I am. I just feel like trucks is his thing. I think Kyle Busch is going to wreck. I don't know that Kyle Busch can race at all without wrecking at this point. So, big pick here for the Xfinity race. Austin Hill or the field? Oh, it's a lot harder than it should be. Don't lie.
Yeah. I mean, he's been dominant at these drafting tracks and Xfinity for a while. And RCR's just been so fast. But, I mean, I'm going to go with the field.
Okay. Man, I was going to do that too. Man, we're idiots if we both miss that one. I'm going to go with the field too because I think it's going to be Jesse Love again. I think Jesse Love is actually faster than him overall. So I will also go with that. All right, so Sunday, all right, that race is at 2:30.
Yep.
Starts at 2:30. That's 400 miles, 500 miles. I don't know. One of the two. And I've got to drive from Atlanta Motor Speedway to Chattanooga, drop off 3 individuals. And then I've got to drive all the way back to Knoxville, Tennessee. The question is, can I make it home by 11:30 Sunday night?
No chance. There is 0% chance of that happening.
I'm going to put yes. I think I can. It depends, but I'm going to put yes on that. So that's going to be...
You better get a turbo for your truck if you want that.
I could see if I can call Cletus, see if I can get a ride on Consuela. Maybe he'll give me a quick pickup. I could just, the airport's right there, honestly. I could just get in the plane, let y'all drive the truck back. Just drive the the old H2 for a week.
Oh, God.
But anyways, all right. I guess that's about it. We're going to Atlanta. For those of you that don't know, I got some bad news. Anybody that doesn't have Prime can't watch qualifying because they're only showing qualifying on Prime because they're a bunch of idiots. So, congratulations NASCAR for that one. I called you out on Twitter today, and I'll probably continue it all week. If you're only going to show qualifying on Amazon Prime, you're dumb. The problem, okay, I know we're going to show races on Amazon Prime. Here's my problem. If there's a Fox race weekend, it should be a Fox race weekend. If it's a Prime weekend, it should be a Prime weekend. If it's an NBC weekend, it should be an NBC weekend. But we got to go to different channels, different networks, different broadcasters, different days. Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
No, that's
That's
not.
too much.
Yeah, it's way too much as far as that goes. Other than that, guys, Saturday you'll have the truck race at 1:30. You will have the Xfinity United Rentals 300 at I'm sorry, that was the Daytona race. I'm sorry. God forgive me on that one. They really need to get on updating their website. Come on, NASCAR. The Xfinity race is the Bennett Logistics Transportation 250. That'll be at 5 o'clock. So we're going to hit the doubleheader there Saturday, Cup race on Sunday. We're going to have a good time. We'll be there. Just look for those of us wearing the party hats. We're going to have a great time celebrating our boy and make some burgers, hot dogs, walk around. I'm going to buy some T-shirts probably.
Oh, yeah.
Get caught up. I want to get one of them Chase Elliott Amazon Prime shirts and hats. So looking forward to that. Also, there was somebody else. I might get a Briscoe deal. I don't know about the Toyota thing. I've never paid any money towards that program, and I'm just not sold I'm there. No, I did. I bought a Kyle Busch hat, M&M's, 18 that one time.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see. I'm torn. Let's go ahead. You're going to make a pick for the Cup race just for the heck of it.
I will go ahead and throw this out there just because I'm going to the race. And every time I go to a NASCAR race, it's always somebody I do not want to win will win.
Same.
So
Guaranteed.
it's probably going to be the damn 22.
Okay. 22-11. Definitely good picks if I'm going to be there. So I'm going to go with Ryan Preece.
That's a bold shot right there.
He was up there. They were quick. Brad was quick there. Buescher was quick there. I'm going to go with Ryan Preece, come back with a vengeance this week, and get the dub. So, Ryan Preece, shout out to you. I believe in you. Make it happen. Other than that, this is the Caution Flag Contemplations podcast. Find us on X at _Caution Flag. Find us on YouTube at Caution Flag Contemplations Pod. And please give us reviews, like, subscribe, share us with people, make them watch. Shout out at the end here. I forgot this. I was going to do this to Phillips Road. I heard you've been watching a little bit. Appreciate that. And hope y'all have a good day. We'll see you around. Y'all hammer down. Find a race. Watch it. And let me make sure I click the right button. We're out of here. Thank y'all for listening to the Caution Flag Contemplations podcast. Our theme music is Hard as Steel by Alex Productions. Thank you all for listening. Hammering down. Find a good race to watch. We'll see you next time.